tonight on First at 9 this Wednesday, the 8th of October 2025. Government meddling. Parliament heats up as the opposition accuses the government of undermining the independence of the Police Commission. Power tariffs. UCSL to announce final decision on electricity tariff revision on October 14th. Arrested. Justice Ministry Additional Secretary arrested for allegedly aiding former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa misappropriate state funds. Golden Rally. Global gold prices surge past $4,000 an ounce, setting new record.
Kalin baby soap rupial 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
Homelands Expo 2025 Property Investment Forum and Exhibition on 11th October at Hilton, Colombo. Call 0710 111 to register today.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, you're joining First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's most trusted news source, Derana. I'm Tarindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. In your top story this evening, the United Nations Committee on Enforced Disappearances voiced concern over what it describes as Sri Lanka's insufficient progress in resolving cases of enforced disappearances. Particular attention was drawn to the underperformance of the Office on Missing Persons, which has managed to trace only a small fraction of the nearly 17,000 cases it has received. In its report released yesterday, the UN Committee underscored a high level of impunity, pointing to the continued stagnation in investigating and prosecuting those implicated in cases of enforced disappearances.
The United Nations Committee on Enforced Disappearances released its latest observations following the review of Benin, Montenegro and Sri Lanka during its most recent session. The report outlines the committee's principal concerns, constructive recommendations and commendable developments related to each state party's adherence to the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. In the case of Sri Lanka, the committee expressed serious apprehensions regarding the country's limited progress in addressing enforced disappearance cases. Notably, the performance of the Office on Missing Persons came under scrutiny, with the committee highlighting that only 23 of nearly 17,000 registered cases have been traced to date. Citing what it called a troubling pattern of impunity, the committee underscored the stagnation in investigations and prosecutions related to enforced disappearances. It urged the OMP to establish a comprehensive and up-to-date registry of all reported cases, to actively search for the missing and ensure justice by holding perpetrators accountable. The committee further raised concern over the discovery of at least 17 mass graves across Sri Lanka, calling into question the country's forensic capabilities. It noted the absence of essential infrastructure such as centralized antemortem and post-mortem databases, including a national genetic database, which are crucial for effective identification efforts. In response, the committee called on the Sri Lankan government to bolster the capacity of relevant national institutions to locate, exhume and identify remains from mass graves. It recommended the development of a cohesive national strategy encompassing the search, recovery and forensic investigation of these burial sites. This report comes a day after the UN Human Rights Council adopted a resolution extending the mandate of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights on Sri Lanka for 2 more years.
In Parliament today, it was agreed to hold an adjournment debate next Friday on a motion submitted by the opposition opposing the proposed transfer of authority over police officer promotions and transfers to the Inspector General of Police. The decision followed a tense exchange in the House as the opposition accused the government of undermining the independence of the Police Commission.
Police Commission එකට තමයි සම්පූර්ණ බලය තිබෙන්නේ.
The Police Commission holds the legal authority to manage the transfers of officers in charge, yet 32 such transfers were carried out without any stated reasons. In addition, several senior Deputy Inspector Generals of Police were also reassigned without following due procedure. This issue will be addressed once it is referred to the Parliamentary Committee on Constitutional Affairs. The responsibility for police transfers is now entirely concentrated in the hands of the Inspector General of Police. The Police Commission must not be allowed to function as an extension of government influence. As the opposition, we strongly oppose the transfer of the Commission's authority to the IGP.
දැන් මේ බොරු බීතියක් හදන්න යන්නේ.
The opposition is attempting to instill undue fear in the public. All recent police transfers were carried out by the police commission itself.
පොලිස් කොමිසම
සභාව නොමග යවන්න
The statement is misleading the members of this house. These transfers were not executed by the police commission.
මේ ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් එක
පොලිස් කොමිසමම
If the police commission delegates its powers to the IGP and if the IGP misuses that authority, the issue can be referred to the commission via an appeal. Since this delegation is voluntary and there's a mechanism for redress, no one needs to be alarmed.
එසා කවුරුත් බය වෙන්න එපා ඒකට.
අරු කතානායකතුමනි ස්ථාවර නියෝග 19(2) යටතේ
Understanding Order 19, Section 2, a member of the opposition has submitted a motion for adjournment to debate a matter of urgent national importance. To proceed, at least 20 members will stand in support of this motion.
දැන් නැගී සිට සහාය පළ කරන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. පොලිස් කොමිසමේ
We call for immediate parliamentary intervention to protect the independence of the National Police Commission.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මැදිහත් විය යුතුයයි අපි යෝජනා කරනවා.
Accordingly, the adjournment debate requested by the opposition will be scheduled for Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
පාර්ටි දක්වා පවත්වනවා.
විදේශ සමලිංගික ප්‍රජාව
Is the Tourism Promotion Bureau taking specific steps to promote LGBTQ tourism?
පියවර ගනිමින් සිටීද?
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි පළවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නය නැත.
In response to that question, the answer is no. The President has already communicated the government's official position on this matter to the chief prelates of the three Buddhist sects. Religious leaders and the general public have been made aware of the government's stance. I would also like to clarify that our approach to tourism promotion is inclusive. We do not promote specific groups, nor do we discriminate against any community.
රජයේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය බව දන්වා සිටිමි.
හැබැයි ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමියනි
However, according to a letter dated 9th September 2025 issued by the chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority and the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Buddhike Hewawasam, permission has been granted to promote LGBTQ tourism. Has the government taken any disciplinary action against the chairman regarding this matter, or has the letter in question has been officially revoked?
ලිපිය අවශ්‍ය කරනවා දාන්න.
ඒ ලිපියේම මුළු ලියුම
If one were to read the full content of that letter, it clearly states towards the end that the matter must first be brought to the attention of the responsible minister or the government before any action is taken. This indicates that the letter was issued without proper consultation with the political authority.
මේ ලිපිය නිකුත් කරේ කියන එක.
සරත් පොන්සේකා ගැන කියන්න ඕන.
Sarath Fonseca claims that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa must be executed by hanging him by his legs. His statement is understandable since Rajapaksa imprisoned him. However, Fonseca made a similar call for the execution of former President Maithripala Sirisena, who elevated him to the rank of Field Marshal immediately upon assuming the presidency. Fonseca's political trajectory has been turbulent. When public support was with the SLPP, he joined the Samik Jana Balawega and secured a seat in parliament, but later clashed with party leader Sajid Premadasa while attempting to secure the leadership for himself. In 2010, during a period of political turmoil, when Sarath Fonseca was reportedly in hiding at a hotel, it was Ranil Wickremesinghe who took steps to ensure his safety. I vividly recall these events. Neville Wanyarachi, the former chief security officer to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, is well aware of these incidents. Fonseca's political and military journey was in part made possible with Neville's support. It was Fonseca who played a key role in Neville's career progression, promoting him through the ranks. Before being appointed to former President Rajapaksa's security detail, Neville had served directly under Fonseca.
ඒකෙන් තමයි මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයා අල්ලගත්තේ. දැන් මේ පහුගිය කාලේ
In recent times, the politicization of the police was a widely discussed issue. Ironically, it was the NPP that led the charge in highlighting this very concern when we were in government. That's precisely why during the good governance era, when efforts were made to establish an independent police commission, you supported the government's initiative despite representing the opposition. Back then, you yourself called for such commission to safeguard the autonomy of the police service. But now this very government is attempting to undermine that independence by shifting the authority back to the IGP. Take for example the recent arrest of former Navy commander. On what grounds was he arrested? A person named B.M. Vijayakantha gives a statement in Sinhala, a statement that ultimately fails to hold up in court. And what did the government do after that? They attempted to forcibly obtain a statement from B.M. Pushpakumara, who was serving as the OIC of the Kalutara police. They went so far as to threaten him with arrest if he failed to provide a statement within a week. Thankfully, he took the right course of action and reported the incident to the police. Subsequently, filed a writ petition seeking a court order to prevent any unlawful arrest. This clearly exposes the true nature of a government that is trying to wrest control from an independent body like the National Police Commission. Even the Prime Minister herself has acknowledged that there are internal discussions taking place within the ruling party on these issues. But let me be clear, do not drag the Police Commission into your party's internal affairs. Your political discussions do not require the involvement of police officials, the Inspector General of Police or the head of the CID.
ඒකට පොලිසිය ගේන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකට පොලිස්පතිවරයා එන්න ඕනෙත් නැහැ. CID ගේ ප්‍රධානියා මැතිවරණ කාලේ ආවට දැන් එන්න ඕනේ නැහැ.
හොඳම ෆෝන් එකක් ගන්න. ළඟම බාන්ස් එකට යන්න.
The World Education Fair 2025's entrance free. Register now.
Several parties urged the Public Utilities Commission today to reject the Ceylon Electricity Board's proposal to increase electricity tariffs, claiming that the increase is intended to cover the costs of a proposed building and loan repayments. This feedback was shared during the final public consultation on the proposed tariff revision. The Public Utilities Commission is expected to announce its final decision on October 14th.
The Ceylon Electricity Board recently submitted a request to the Public Utilities Commission to raise electricity tariffs by 6.8% for the final quarter of 2025. The public consultation process began on September 18th in the Eastern Province and culminated today with the final session held in the Western Province.
The suggestion is to increase electricity rates by 6.8% for all categories. After this consultation, the Commission will announce its decision on the 14th and the decision will take effect from October 15th. There is no need to increase electricity tariffs. The water levels of reserves are stable and the price of coal has not risen and the price of coal has not increased. Diesel prices have come down, but the Petroleum Corporation is making profits through unsavory means without passing on that benefit. Additionally, feed-in tariffs for renewable energy was reduced. So what is the reason to increase electricity tariffs now? After the proposals to increase electricity tariffs, the profit for the last 3 months was 8.16 billion. But in reality, the CEB has earned undue profits. Protests are held demanding that manpower employees be absorbed into the CEB. On top of that, a portion of these employees' salaries was appropriated by trade unions. Now they are planning to increase electricity tariffs to compensate those employees for retiring voluntarily. It's the government leaders who should be making these payments because the money ended up in their party's account. Since June 2025, there has been no clarity on the pricing formulas. We don't know at what rate electricity is being bought and nothing has been disclosed in that regard. Yet the CEB pays 10 to 12 rupees per litre of fuel to the Petroleum Corporation. Both the Petroleum Corporation and the CEB are making profits while we are bearing the cost. The CEB has also prepared an estimate for the construction of a central complex and the millions allocated for that are included in this as well. On top of that, an all debt of 7.83 billion is being recovered through electricity tariffs. The 6.8% increase is simply a way to repay the debt using money taken from consumers. We cannot approve these unnecessary expenses. For what reason is a new building being constructed for the CEB? Why is the cost of that building being added to the electricity tariffs? Just yesterday, the World Bank released a report stating that poverty has increased and one of the main factors affecting low-income earners is electricity tariffs. The suggestions made to increase electricity tariffs are based on false information. The assessments and estimations are inaccurate. So I urge the Commission not to approve this tariff increase. Take a firm stand on this matter and reject the proposed revision. Instead, look into the possibility of reducing tariffs.
Sri Lanka will extend the exemption period for the deviation tax levied at the Mattal International Airport until June 2027 in a bid to attract more airlines to the airport. Meanwhile, Cabinet approval has been granted to temporarily assign officials from other government agencies to the Bribery Commission amid recent reports of staff shortages. With that, here's more on these and other key decisions taken at this week's Cabinet meeting. The government will institutionalize results-based management in the public sector in accordance with the ministerial results framework prepared for 22 line ministries and institutions. The move aims to ensure that the public receive expected benefits without delay, strengthen economic relationships and increase public confidence in public sector investments. Cabinet approval was granted to temporarily assign officials from the State Service, Police, Audit Service, Provincial Government Service and state corporations for duties in the Bribery Bribery Commission. The move is aimed at maintaining the Commission's efficiency until a permanent staff is appointed. The foreign ministries of Sri Lanka and the Republic of Malta will sign a memorandum of understanding to promote and strengthen bilateral relationships in the political, economic, trade, investment, consular and cultural sectors, as well as to share ideas on regional and international matters of mutual interest. The move comes on the 25th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Another MOU will be signed between the Sri Lanka Standards Institute and Russia's Federal Agency for Technical Regulation and Metrology. The agreement will facilitate the incorporation of Russian standards into the standards to be prepared by Sri Lanka in the future, removal of technical obstacles in the supply of trade facilities between the two countries, obtaining of technical assistance in metrology and instrumental calibration, and the development of cooperation on standards in line with international law, guidelines and standards. Sri Lanka will extend the exemption period for the deviation tax levied on airlines operating scheduled flights to and from the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport until June 26, 2027. Several airlines have expressed interest in operating flights to and from the airport, and the move aims to attract more scheduled international airlines. Meanwhile, a special office of the Wildlife Department will be established at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport to pre-identify and effectively manage incursions by elephants and other wildlife so as to ensure passenger and staff safety, prevent damage to infrastructure and maintain uninterrupted airport operations. Meanwhile, Cabinet approved the implementation of the Western Province Municipal Solid Waste Management Master Plan. The plan was drafted in collaboration with the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Meanwhile, the contract to supply 4 shipments of Murban crude oil for the first 4 months of 2026 will be awarded to Singapore-based BB Energy Asia Private Limited. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa claims that the success of the government's investigations into corruption and criminal activities is clearly reflected in the reactions of opposition groups, including the SLPP. The minister made this comment at the Cabinet briefing today.
අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජනරාල්වරයාගේ පත්වීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් චෝදනාවක් එල්ල කරා ගම්මන්පිල මහත්මයා මේකට බිමල් රත්නායක මහත්මයාත් මැදිහත් වෙලා තිබෙනවා මේ ලකුණු දීම පටිපාටින් ඔහු නෙමෙයි වැඩිම ලකුණු වරන් තියෙන්නේ චෝදනා කරගෙන තීරුමක් නැහැ.
There is no point in making such allegations. If the appointment made by the parliamentary committee is wrong or problematic, a case can be filed before the Supreme Court. It has been some time since the appointment was made. It is clear that Gammampila and his team are attempting to disrupt the investigations being carried out by the Bribery Commission. Only someone who wants to protect those who accept bribes or is corrupt would make such a demand. If there are any specific allegations against the Bribery Commission, it would be more appropriate for the Director General or a representative from the Commission to respond directly.
තාජුදීන්ගේ ඝාතනය සම්බන්ධව මේ පළවෙනි වතාවේදී මේකනේ ත්‍රියානුතරක් කියලානේ. ඒතකොට ඒකට ඒ සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච මට මතක විදිහට CCD අධ්‍යක්ෂවරයා විදිහට හිටියේ DRL රණවීර මහත්මයා. ඒතකොට එතුමාව මහජන ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශයේ උපදේශකවරයෙක් විශ්‍රාමික පොලිස් නිලධාරියෙක් උපදේශකවරයෙක් විදිහට පත් කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් conflict of interest එකක් එනවා නේද?
මම දන්නේ ඒ රණවීරයි මේ රණවීරයි දෙන්නම එක්කෙනාද කියලා. ඒ ගැන අවබෝධයක් නැහැ.
I'm not sure whether the Ranavira you are referring to and the current appointee are the same person. The government's intention is to punish the perpetrators, those who aided them and anyone who concealed evidence. Many former police officers continue to work with the government either as salaried employees or as volunteers. However, I can assure you that this has not disrupted any ongoing investigations. If any individual who served in the police under a previous administration is now attempting to obstruct investigations under this government, taking actions against them will not be a challenge. If that were happening, the SLPP would not be in such a state of unease. The behavior of Nama Rajapaksa and his team is the clearest indication that this is not the case.
Former Acting Director General of the Office for Reparations and current Additional Secretary to the Minister of Justice, Sepalika Saman Kumari, was arrested today by the Bribery Commission for allegedly aiding and abetting corruption and misappropriation of state funds by former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court today granted permission to hear a petition by 3 individuals, including CID Director Shani Abesekara, seeking a ruling that their fundamental rights were violated during arrests and remands during former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's tenure.
former Acting Director General of the Office for Reparations and present Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, Sepalika Samankumari, was arrested by the Bribery Commission this morning. She was arrested for allegedly aiding and abetting the criminal misappropriation of state funds in relation to a case filed against former State Minister Shashendra Rajapaksa, who is accused of threatening government officials to obtain compensation for a building situated on government land which was torched during the 2022 unrest. The Bribery Commission said the building in question is owned by the Mahawali Authority and that the suspect had, without proper approval, written to the Director General of the authority requesting approval to grant the compensation, despite the Board of Directors of the Compensation Office earlier rejecting the payment in writing. She is accused of aiding and abetting corruption and criminal misappropriation of public property by inducing officials of the Compensation Office to pay 8.85 million rupees based on the aforementioned approval. Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanka Bodargama ordered that the suspect be released on 2 sureties of $1 million each, considering her long tenure in the public service and the fact that she had not personally profited from the incident as extenuating circumstances. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court today granted permission to hear a petition filed by 3 individuals, including Director of the Criminal Investigation Department Shania Besekara, seeking a ruling that their fundamental rights had been violated when they were arrested and remanded by the CID during the tenure of former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The 3-judge bench, which considered the submissions, decided to hear the petition on May 14th.
Welcome back. The Women MSME Awards 2025, organised by Women in Management, were held yesterday in Colombo, celebrating the achievements of women-led enterprises across Sri Lanka. This year, the awards recognised both national and export-level women-led enterprises, honouring 40 women entrepreneurs from all 9 provinces for their outstanding contributions to their communities and the economy.
The Women MSME Awards 2025, organised by Women in Management, was held yesterday in Colombo, celebrating the achievements of women-led enterprises across Sri Lanka. Leader of Sarojana Balaya parliamentarian Dilip Jayavira attended the event as a chief guest alongside other distinguished guests and industry leaders.
To the photo backdrop to capture an image. Thank you very much to the presentation party.
The Women MSME Awards recognize and honor women-led micro, small and medium enterprises for their resilience, innovation and contribution to economic growth. The initiative aims to empower women entrepreneurs, increasing their visibility and connect them with global markets, creating opportunities for expansion and collaboration. This year's awards celebrated national and export-level women entrepreneurs, and a total of 40 entrepreneurs representing all 9 provinces were honored for their achievements and contribution to their communities and the economy.
All coming from the local production. Well done to Hansla Amali.
We say the backbone of Sri Lanka is MSME. So why not we speak about MSMEs? We speak about them and everyone is talking about we have to empower, and we don't see that any linking them back to the economy. They first look at the export market before they look at the local market. And the sustainability is something that we do not look at it. That's where I thought we have to find a way to recognize women MSMEs who are already there so that they can be an inspiration.
The UK government supports a worldwide initiative called She Trades, which is a network of female entrepreneurs. Some of you may be part of it already. That came to Sri Lanka last year. It was rolled out to Sri Lanka. We had a very successful trade mission late last year, entirely women from the UK. And after that, a hub has been set up, which is a website which allows women entrepreneurs here to connect to their counterparts around the world. But we have been doing a lot to try to encourage exports to the UK. This is a scheme which allows some 90% of the products that are exported from Sri Lanka to the UK to come in tariff-free. If you look at economists' predictions for which part of the world is going to grow the most over the next 30 years, one of the epicenters of world growth is going to be just north of here in southern India. The really exciting place to be over the next few decades is going to be in this region and in this country.
I'm on a different entrepreneurship journey. It's called entrepreneurial politics. So we see how much we can push our entrepreneurial spirit into politics. And as I entered to politics about 2 years ago, I came with this slogan that we should build an entrepreneurial state. I try to sort of encourage everyone to look at the possibility of looking at everything from an entrepreneurial perspective. In talking about women entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka, we have almost 7 million women entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka. Our per capita on nominal terms is about 4,000 US. So how did we even survive? It is thanks to the women entrepreneurs of Sri Lanka. They are the mothers of Sri Lanka. They run the most difficult entrepreneurship, which is the household. That shows how entrepreneurial our women are. But while doing that, while appreciating that, they can do a lot more. It is our duty to give them that encouragement and sharing our knowledge, sharing our creativity, the bit we know, and giving them whatever the facilities, whatever the support. And also, as we always refer to them as women entrepreneurship, I think lastly to say that there is nothing called women entrepreneurship. There's entrepreneurship. If there's entrepreneurship, we are all equal. We are all equally good, or you are even better.
Celebrations for TV Derana's 20th anniversary continued today with Islamic religious observances held at the Derana headquarters. Guided by the theme Preserving Our Own and Embracing the New, Derana has spent 2 decades enriching the Sri Lankan audience with a unique blend of knowledge and entertainment. As part of the anniversary celebrations, today's religious ceremony reflected the network's commitment to honouring cultural and spiritual values while continuing its journey of innovation and growth. In attendance were the Derana Media Network's Deputy Chairman Laksiri Wickramage, Executive Director Madhava Madavala, members of the Board of Directors, senior management and Derana staff. Welcome back. Sri Lanka's official reserve assets rose by 1.1% to $6.24 billion in September 2025, up from $6.17 billion in August 2025. However, this figure includes proceeds from the swap arrangement with the People's Bank of China, totaling approximately $1.4 billion, which are subject to conditions on usability. The Colombo Bourse closed in negative territory today as a result of price losses in counters such as Melster Corp, Sampath Bank and John Keel's Holdings. The benchmark ASPI lost 0.29% to close at 22,097.99, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 decreased by 0.46% to end the day at 6,163.22. Market turnover was 7.3 billion rupees. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers, offloading shares worth 196 million rupees. With that, here's a look at today's foreign exchange rates. Gold soared past $4,000 an ounce today, hitting a new record as investors seek safety amid rising economic and geopolitical uncertainties and anticipate further Federal Reserve rate cuts. Spot gold climbed 0.7% to $4,011.18, with futures also rising sharply. This year, gold has surged 53%, driven by massive debt concerns, a weaker dollar and stronger central bank buying. The ongoing US government shutdown and political turmoil in France and Japan are also boosting demand. Analysts expect gold to remain strong in 2026, supported by continued ETF inflows and rate cuts, while silver, platinum and palladium also posted gains. That's all for tonight from First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.